Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Well, Tony, all I know about today's show is that you have some predictions, which you didn't say bold predictions, so I assume this won't be bold. So this will probably be basically like a regular bold prediction show for us. Listeners won't be able to tell the difference.
It's unfortunate that you began the show that way because I was going to say, Tom, I've got some predictions for you. They're not bold, so they should be right up your alley. You should be very comfortable. And no, but I've got a lot of Ohio State predictions that I've written that I've got prepared, but today we're just going to deal with 5. And some may be a little bold, some may not, some may just be, well, we'll see. But we're going to go at them one at a time. You tell me the likelihood. We'll talk about the circumstances and which they may happen. But the first one that I have for you is that this season, at some point in a game, Brock Boyd will best Mylan Graham's best day as a Buckeye, which was 3 catches for 40 yards. Now, that may be Brock Boyd's best game of the season, and I think 40 yards that's steep for a true freshman. I haven't gone back and looked, all of the game by game, just season by season for the true freshman, but 3, I think, is probably about the brink of his topping out as well. So 3 for 40. It's a little bold, Tom.
It's actually a little bold, and there's a couple reasons why it's bold. One is that I think when we did our season predictions for him, I had something like 5 for 75 or something like that, and we might have bumped that up a little bit when we did it recently. But you're not, they're just based on the schedule. There are just probably not going to be that many games where he is a big part of the game plan. You're going to have the games at the early part of the season, the Ball State game, the Kent State game, like those. That's when this is probably going to happen. More likely than not, if it's going to happen, it's going to be one of those, or it's going to be Northwestern or Maryland or someone like that.
Michigan.
Definitely one of the games on the schedule. Yes, I think I would put this in the category of plausible but not guaranteed, where this has a chance of happening. This is something that I don't look at and go, you're crazy, but I also don't look at and go, this is an absolute guarantee. It's kind of crazy, however, that Mylan Graham last year, who I think started a game or two during the time when Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate were both out, that he never did more than 3 catches for 40 yards. That's a little surprising.
Well, and they had David Adolph playing a bunch of those snaps as well, rather than Mylan Graham for the running game purposes and things like that. But yeah, Mylan Graham finished the year with 6 catches for 93 yards, and those 3 for 40 came against UCLA and a 48-10 win. At Purdue, is 1 for 20. That he only had more than 1 catch in that one UCLA game, the 3 for 40. But I think 3 for 41 is possible. I know it's possible. I'm predicting, Tom, that it in fact happens. The next one for you, this is something that has happened the last 4 years, not for this particular player, but for the Buckeyes. And so this prediction is that Peyton Pierce is a first-team All-Big Ten linebacker. And the last time the Buckeyes did not have a first-team All-Big Ten middle linebacker was 2021. So in 2022 was Tommy Eichenberg, 2023 was Tommy Eichenberg, 2024 Cody Simon, and of course last year 2025 Sonny Styles. This one also I think is boldish based on Peyton Pierce's maybe a couple of starts and a 3 linebacker set over last season. He's the Ohio State middle linebacker, so you'd figure he's got a pretty good shot of doing it, but also, he's not Sonny Styles, but neither was Cody Simon. Certainly neither was Tommy Eichenberg. You'd think he could fit into that mix.
Yeah, he could certainly fit into that mix. It's interesting that you've got, those are very different types of players between, Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Simon and Sonny Styles. Those are also guys who played in a couple different defensive schemes. And the common thread there to me is pretty good players, number one, but also players who are playing on a relatively high, getting a lot of eyeballs on them as part of a good defense. And they're kind of the center of the defense and, getting a lot of attention there. And you're not necessarily piling up enormous stats, but you have a lot of that other stuff going for you. And Peyton Pierce has all that stuff going for him this year. It should be a pretty good defense. You're going to be playing a bunch of high profile games. And we've talked before about how the awards work, and so much of it is narrative based, and how much of it is, well, I remember watching them play Texas in week 2 because there were not a lot of other great games going on. And so the whole nation was watching them play Texas and Peyton Pierce. So it was a storyline because Peyton Pierce went back to his home state of Texas, and they beat Texas, and they held Texas to 17 points, and Texas couldn't run the ball. And, however the game plays out, then that just kind of sticks in your mind. If they give up 38 points to Texas, that might very well mean that Peyton Pierce is not your all Big Ten middle linebacker. But if they have a good game against Texas and they keep Texas from running the ball, and Peyton Pierce and Devin Sanchez going back to Texas, to their home state, and they're playing a big part of this, that may go a long way towards postseason awards, just because it sort of forms the narrative in the heads of the voters. And just the way it works, you don't get to watch every player every game. So it's just, what do I remember about this guy? Hey, this guy was pretty good. I remember that. And so that goes a long way. So yeah, at this point, it would be more surprising to predict that someone does not win the first team all Big Ten position at linebacker, just based on the fact that it sort of keeps happening for Ohio State.
It's interesting over the years with the linebackers at Ohio State and the results against Texas, and how that can shape some things. We've talked in the past about James Laurinaitis in 2006 becoming an All-American in that game, and he had an interception or two and some tackles for loss. But the year before, like A.J. Hawk and Bobby Carpenter were chasing Vince Young all over the place. Even in a loss, they earned a ton of respect from people. And then in 2024, Sonny Styles getting burnt a couple of times on the wheel routes, and people like, oh, Sonny, blah, blah, blah. And then, he was fine in 2025, obviously. But last year, Arvell Reese as well, blowing up, and everybody finding out who this guy was in that Texas game. So there is that opportunity if Peyton Pierce comes out with 13 tackles in a winning effort, and not 13 tackles because they're all 7 yards behind, beyond the line of scrimmage, and you're just dragging guys down. There's an opportunity, certainly. I'm going to stay at linebacker and kind of stay with Arvell Reese here. This prediction is that Christian Alliegro has more sacks after November 1st than Arvell Reese did last year. And Arvell Reese, from November 1st on the rest of the season, had 1 sack. He only had 3.5 tackles from that point on as well. I'm saying Christian Alliegro is going to outproduce Arvell Reese in a very narrow scope, only speaking specifically of statistics and nothing else. This feels like, boy, if he doesn't, then that might not be a great sign, but it might also mean that Riley Pettyjohn or TJ Alford is doing the job instead.
When you first said this, I thought you meant before November 1st, and I thought, oh, all right, that's pretty crazy. This is more of like a fun fact almost, where it's on Babe Ruth hit 714 home runs, but somehow only 13 of them happened on Tuesdays or whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not an actual fun fact, but yeah, this is more almost a statistical anomaly from the end of last year than anything else. But yeah, 3.5 tackles for loss and 1 tackle after November 1st. Yeah, I would assume that you're probably going to get this out of. You might get that out of all of your linebackers. You might get that out of all of your linebackers and several of your defensive ends. Like this is, yeah, sure. I don't know that this really even means that much, but yeah, sure. This is something that I think has a very good chance of happening. Yes.
I'm just looking to see. Sonny Styles only had 1 sack last year. Was it post November 1st? In fact, actually, he had 2 half sacks after November 1st. So even he matched Arvell Reese. Tom, here's a fun one, maybe a stressful one for the fans. Connor Hawkins is going to win a game this year in the final minutes. That is something that hasn't happened all that often. Is the last one, and I'm just shooting in the dark here, is that the Rose Bowl in 2021, the last time there was a field goal at the gun to actually win a game for the Buckeyes?
Yes, and that was not technically at the gun. I believe they had to kick off after that. But yeah, it was in the last 10 seconds of the game.
Right.
That was the last one that I could think of. And I was trying to remember if that was
was that tied at that point?
I think it might have been tied because I think I won that game by 3 points. So I think it was tied, but yeah, I think that might have been the last one, and that would have been the 2021 season. So yeah, you're going on 4 full seasons without that happening. And but with the schedule this year being as difficult as it is, you're going to be playing many more close games. Last year, you didn't have that many opportunities for this to happen. And this year, you're probably going to have 5 games that have at least a decent possibility of being a 1-score game in the final, fourth quarter at least. And odds are one of them is going to come down to the last drive, which means odds are you're going to at least have an opportunity to do something like this. And they brought in Connor Hawkins specifically because they need someone who can do this for them. They know this is a year where you have to be able to win those fine margin games. You can't just win games by 3-4 scores every time. And, you miss a field goal. Who cares? It doesn't matter until it does. So, yeah, they brought him in to do this specifically, and I think he's going to be in situations where he's going to have 1, maybe 2 opportunities to do this year, and that's even before you get to the postseason. And once you get to the postseason, those are also probably going to be close games. So, yeah, I think the opportunity will almost certainly present itself for him to do this at some point this year.
That's why they're paying him $4.5 million, from what I heard.
Citation needed.
But yeah, the number of games that will be close, I think, is going to be higher than normal for an Ohio State schedule. So this feels like if there was ever a season for it to happen, it would be this one. And so that's why I went there. Last one, Tom. The number I'm going to throw out doesn't sound bold, but I think it is maybe the boldest of these 5 predictions. And that is Ohio State will finally rush for 100 yards against Texas. And the playoffs in 2024, it was 24 rushes for 81 yards. Last year, 34 for 77. So that's a 79-yard average in 2 games. This is going to be a pretty stiff test. One of the best defenses in the nation, rushing for 100 yards against Texas, I think is going to be something that very few teams do this year. And if Ohio State can do it in week 2 on the road, I think that would be a great sign. Now, it may be 35 carries for 101 yards, and it's, 3.5 yard, 3 yard per carry average or whatever. But the consistency and the ability to maintain a yardage on most of their carries, I think, would go a long way. So I don't know that I believe this one. I'm trending towards not believing it, but if you believed everything you predicted, like, they would be called beliefs.
See, I actually think this one does happen this year because I think the offensive lines can be substantially better this year. I think the running backs should be better this year. You've got several different guys who can just do different things, who can be different types of backs, give you different things. And I think you're going to have, if Julian Sain gets sacked 5 times and that counts against your rushing total, then yeah, that brings you back down. But I don't think they're going to have quite as much trouble with sacks as they did last year, at least towards the end of last year. So I don't think that's going to work against you. I don't think it's going to just be they can throw the ball all over the place so they don't need to run the ball. And I don't think they're going to be so desperately far behind that running the ball is just not a factor. So I think, and Arthur Smith, I think in general, has a little bit of a, he's not a ground and pound like old Chuck Knox kind of coach, but he does he is known for his run schemes, and I think he's going to be maybe a little bit more willing to be patient with the run game and try some different things in the run game and have some creative solutions in the run game. And all of that, I'm not saying they're going to run for 200 yards against Texas, but I think all of that kind of adds up to me to, yeah, they should be able to run the ball this year against Texas to the point where they are at 120 yards or something like that at the least. And if they run for 4 yards a carry against Texas, that's enormous. That would be huge. Anything better than that is, not quite guaranteeing a win, but a pretty substantial step in that direction. So yeah, I think based on all the stuff that I said, I think this is absolutely a feasible thing and maybe even a likely thing.
Okay. Well, and the one difference in those two games that will certainly be different in this game is Bo Jackson will be playing in this game. He did not play in last year's Texas game, so that will help. I think also the offense, the Ohio State offense, not being as timid, unsure of itself, not wanting to make mistakes. And the season opener last year limited what they can do. And when you're conservative like that, the defense knows it. Being more open this year, I think, could also then lead to some better runs in there. And it only takes one, really, to put you over the top. So there you go. Tom thinks Ohio State's going to rush for 200 yards against Texas in a loss. I don't see that. I think, Tom, if you rush for 200 yards, you're probably going to win. What do you guys think? Are these predictions off? Go ahead and throw your own predictions in the comments if you would like. And if you're listening and you want to check out the comments, you can go to youtube.com/@BuckeyeInsiders. And boy, we are very, very close at BuckeyeInsiders.com to launch. So if you go there right now, you can put your email address in. You'll get an update. I don't want to say too much right now, Tom. Are we safe not saying too much? It's very, very soon.
It's very, very soon. We sent out an email update on Friday to everyone who'd put their email address in there. We're going to send another one out probably in the next day or so. We're hoping to have an actual launch date that we can just say it's going to be this day, huzzah! And it is literally a matter of days at this point. So, if the best way to find out is to just go to BuckeyeInsiders.com, and if the site is there, then hooray, we've launched. And if the site's not there, then put in your email address, and we'll send you an email as soon as the site launches. Either way, the solution is to go to BuckeyeInsiders.com right now. Do it now.
It is. So there you go. That will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.